Are you ready for more object-oriented programming? Well, this is our third video on object-oriented programming in C++, or day 16 in an entire series. So stand by, this video is about to start. This is the Savage Scientist Ed right here, and I'm writing code in a police car. What's up, folks? This is the Savage Scientist Ed, the governor of the great state of Swampland. And this is the 16th day of our C++ in 31 days series, and the third part of the object-oriented programming section. And today we are about to take a look at more object-oriented programming. And in the last videos, we played with objects, manipulated objects, and went over structures and classes. So those videos are available if you need a little refreshment. So in this video, we're about to look at creating classes and separating them into implementation files and header files. So now, let's get a look at the timestamps for this video. So you already know what to do. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, share this video. I'm trying to get a little love from the YouTube algorithm because, my channel is on a way to 0 subscribers. So now let's talk about our header files in the C++ programming language. A header file basically implements an interface. And an interface is a stripped down version of our class that doesn't have the implementation of the methods. So we could look at a header file that's having a .h or the newer .hpp extension. And when we implement the body of the methods, we will do that in a .cpp file. And we don't use .c often. That's normally something back from the C programming days. So nothing stopping you from using the C extension in a C++ program. Now, when you start getting into real C++ programs, you might run across this statement, Pragma Once. And what this statement is a very basic statement that says we do not want any redundant code in our project. So this statement is in a section where we have all our include statements and preprocessor directives. And this is the preprocessor directive. We're going to have more preprocessor stuff in a future video. So Pragma Once. This is telling the compiler to only include this object called box one time. So let's say this is our project. And we call in box in 1, 2, 3, 4 of these files. So to avoid having redundant calls to box, so we would have Pragma Once in one of these files. So the magic of our Pragma Once statement happens when we have duplicate calls to our box object like in these other 3 files. And they will automatically be ignored because we already have it declared in the file that has the Pragma Once statement. Let's hop into Dev C++ and get this thing started. We're going to start with a new project, and we're going to name that project Day 16. We're going to set our save point to the folder on the desktop, and hopefully you should have folders created with all our days, day 1 through 31. If you haven't done that, then create 31 folders for our work, and for each project, save it in that folder. So we're doing things a little different today. Instead of working with our main file today, let's create a new file. So we're going to go into our project and select the new icon and then source file. And we're going to name it box, B-O-X. And we're going to select the header file from our dropdown. So we're going to name our header file box.h. And let's repeat the same process and create another file called box.cpp. That's going to be our implementation file. And up here we have 3 tabs so we could switch between our files. We have our main.cpp, our box.h, and our box.cpp. I'm about to show my age with this one. I remember back a long time ago, in 1998 when I was learning how to code. I did my Java programming in Emacs, and we didn't have all these fancy tabs and all this stuff to make things easier. So for the people who are learning the code today, y'all got it easy. Now that we got that out the way, let's start working on our box.h, our header file. We're going to put our include IOStream statement in on line 1, then let's go to line 2, using namespace.std, and we're about to start creating our class here. So we're going to use our class keyword with our box, and we're going to open parentheses, and this is the public part of our class. So our public method is going to be our constructor and our destructor. And our private, we're going to just put the private keyword here, even though we're not going to declare any private data. And we're going to close our class off and put our parentheses here on line 10. And that's it for our interface. And as you notice, there's no implementation of our constructors. And now it's time for us to move to our box implementation file. That's the box CPP file. We're going to start with our include box.h. And what that does is allow us to have access to our interface box.h. And we're going to use our scope resolution operator to have access to those objects in the box, or to have access to the scope of the box. And we're going to just implement our constructor and destructor. So whenever we create our box object, it's going to print box constructor. And let's work on our destructor here on line 8, putting our box destructor here and some code that's just saying box destructor, line 10. This is how an API is born. An API just makes it so other coders could use our code. And now let's work on our main CPP file. We're going to also include our box.h. And let's see. So we're going to create an instance of our box and let's run it. That's really all this thing does. So the purpose of this exercise on day 16 is to demonstrate creating an interface. Our box interface is box.h, and it only has two methods, the constructor and destructor. And the body of the constructor and destructor is located in our box.cpp. And you notice we don't call our box.cpp directly in our main function. It is done through box.h. And that's the way an API works. So you should rewatch this video before moving on to our later lessons. This is an important video on object-oriented programming, and we just implemented our own API. So we just wrapped up day 16. So give yourself a big salute. You are more than halfway done with this C++ in 31 days series. I'm gonna have a separate video on using Pragma Once and other preprocessor directives. So till I make my next video, peace out.